on the halfway line in the centre circle now in a more central area, the right winger. I think he just hesitated just a little too long to get his shot away. Clearly prefers to be on his left foot, but couldn't really do the damage on that occasion. It's Rice. Ødegaard. He's got Ben White hugging the touchline on this near side if he wants him. Still has the ball and then he slips it between the players, but White wasn't really expecting that pass from Ødegaard, and the ball goes out of play for a Newcastle goal kick. 20 minutes played at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Eberechi Eze's goal, the difference between the two sides at the moment. Arsenal would go back to the top of the table if they are victorious this afternoon. Newcastle's really struggling down the bottom, 14th in the table. They're only, well, at the start of the day they were only 11 points behind Tottenham, but Tottenham of course did win today. That late winner by João Palhinha against Wolves to give them 3 points, so only 8 points ahead of Spurs at the start of this game. Spurs on 34 points, 18th in the relegation zone. Newcastle 14th on 42 points, so mathematically they're not safe yet. Albeit I think it's very improbable, isn't it? The ball goes back to Botman. Comes over to Dan Burn on this near side. Ball is lifted over the top, but Saliba does well to nod the ball back to his defender Raya. Saliba. Zubamende lifts the ball over the top. Madueke's done well to bring it down. Goes for a shot from distance, but it's a real P-roller straight towards the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, who can pick it up pretty easily. It's thrown out to Dan Burn. He's forced to play it back to Botman, who's in the left-back area. It goes back to Pope, who clears first time with his left foot. Headers won by Zubamendi. Flicked forward by Ødegaard. Tries to play it towards Madueke, who's in an offside position. So Botman comes over and again he plays it to his goalkeeper Pope. Loose first touch from the goalkeeper. He's able to clear it with his left foot, but Arsenal win it back again. Ødegaard has it on the edge of the box. Really good tackle by Botman though to win the ball. Excellent defending by the Dutchman. Ball comes out to Osula on this near side. He's running at Saliba. Doesn't have much support at the moment. Tries to get between White and Saliba and he's won a free kick there. Excellent play by the Newcastle United forward, William Osula. Only 6 goals to his name this season across all competitions. But that was a good move there by the young attacker. He scored 4 times in the Premier League in this campaign. And there's one in his side, a free kick on this near side. Bruno Guimaraes is preparing to take it midway through the first half. Arsenal lined up right on the edge of their penalty spots as Guimaraes prepares to take it with his right foot. What can he do from here? Bruno Guimaraes. All of the big defenders are up for Newcastle. They're all in an offside position at the moment. Cross comes in from the Brazilians, headed away by Havertz, and then the ball is swung at by Jacob Murphy. But it's never testing the goalkeeper, David Raya. Mikel Arteta applauds that piece of defending though. Doesn't look particularly comfortable, but doesn't look particularly stressed either at the moment, Mikel Arteta. I think he can see that his team are doing all right at the moment against the Newcastle side. Have had a lot of the ball, but really haven't done too much with it yet. Ball goes out of play on the far side. It's an Arsenal throw in. Capien wants to take it quickly. The referee Sam Barrett tells him he's about 10 yards too far up the pitch, and he then tosses it back to Declan Rice, the England midfielder. Expected to have a busy summer, of course, for Thomas Tuchel at the World Cup. Of course, the competition kicking off in June in the United States, Mexico, and in Canada, of course. As Saliba plays the ball back to Rice, who's in his own half at the moment. Spares it to Zubimendi. He gives it to Gabriel. Arsenal just confident with the ball in their own defence at the moment. Not too much pressure from the Newcastle attack. Ball comes over to Odegaard, who brings the ball into Newcastle's half on this near side. He's got Madueke to his right. Comes over to the former Chelsea attacker. He comes onto his left foot. Madueke, the England international, plays the ball back in the box to Odegaard. Lovely back heel, and then the ball is cleared by Newcastle United. That was a terrific sweeping move. Odegaard back heeled it to Zubimendi, but Newcastle were able to defend well. White throws the ball back to Saliba. It's Odegaard. Odegaard comes onto his left foot. White once more. Odegaard again. Eze. Odegaard's brought down. Arsenal still have the ball in the box. He tries to slip through to Madueke, but Pope is able to gather right on the edge of his 6-yard box on this near side. Arsenal are starting to get in their groove at times. Finding Odegaard having a lot of possession at the moment for the Gunners. It's Dan Burn. He flicks it over. Murphy. Arsenal win the ball back. Zubimendi's done brilliantly to find Kai Havertz. It comes over to Madueke on this near side. Ben White provides an overlap. Madueke plays into the feet of Havertz. Comes back to Madueke. Arsenal with some real intricate passing. Newcastle are able to clear. As Gabriel is forced to play it back to David Raya. Newcastle defence has to be really, really alert. Gabriel over in the right-sided position of the centre-halves at the moment. Normally on the left for the Gunners as Eze tries to slip it towards Havertz, but that's too close to Botman. Malik Chow now has it, the other centre-half. He plays on the right side of Newcastle's centre-back pairing with Botman on the left as Pope clears with his left foot. It's too far away from Osula. It comes all the way to Gabriel. Gabriel, the Brazilian centre-half. Such a key player for the Gunners. Not only defensively, but also from set pieces, from corners. Managed to score 3 goals this season in the Premier League. Interestingly, he's also got 4 assists. As Eze goes down in the centre circle, and Arsenal have a free kick inside 28 minutes. As Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0 at the Emirates. It's a glorious April afternoon in North London. Arsenal are looking to return to the top of the table as Bukayo Saka gets a warm welcome from the Arsenal fans as he goes for his first half warm-up. Big smile on the face of the England winger. Odegaard tries to slip the ball forward to Madueke. Tries to put a low cross with the right foot. It's easy for Newcastle to deal with at the near post. And Arsenal have a throw-in right by the corner flag. Ben White has the ball in his hands, the former Brighton defender, back in the side today in place of Christian Mosquera. Declan Rice has it in the middle of Newcastle's half. He squares it back to Saliba. It's now with Odegaard. Odegaard must have had more touches than any other player. He flicks it towards Eze, who heads it forward, but Newcastle managed to clear. They can't quite clear their lines yet. It's Willock at the moment, who's now attacking on the left-hand side against the former side. Still has the ball at the moment. Zubimendi's in front of him. He hasn't got too much support. Puts in a cross. It comes off the head of Saliba, and he's actually done really well there, Joe Willock. He didn't have too many options. His teammates didn't rush to help him. He tried to put it across. It came off the face of Saliba, and Newcastle have a corner kick. Dan Burn screaming instructions to his teammates as he goes forwards. Probably the tallest player on the pitch, Dan Burn. Such a presence, such a character as well, isn't he? Playing at left back, the 33-year-old. 201 centimetres tall he is. As the cross comes in from the near side. Cleared away by Arsenal, right on the edge of the box. Ramsey tries to lift it back in. Gabriel with the header clear. Rice heads it forward, but it comes to Tonali. He goes for a shot from distance, and Raya has to go down to his feet quickly. He hasn't been able to gather it on the first attempt. Is able to get it the second time, and that was a really audacious strike from Sandro Tonali, about 40 yards away. It was pretty central. I think it might have been clipped, taken a deflection off an Arsenal player. No, it hasn't. It's just swerved. And Raya, I think, found it difficult to see through the Arsenal defenders. It's very bright on this Saturday night, this Saturday evening. And he was able to make the save. Nearly wrong-footed there. Newcastle have the ball again in Arsenal's half. Botman. He decides to go safety first, back to his goalkeeper, Nick Pope. To Malik Chow. On the halfway line. Guimaraes. Back with Chow. He slips it forwards. Newcastle have the ball in the centre circle. It's Guimaraes into the feet of Osula. Right on the edge of the box. It comes loose for Willock, who goes for a shot, and that is high in the stands. Well, I think he did get a kick for his troubles as Declan Rice comes to check on him. Not sure if the referee Sam Barrett has given a free kick here or not. But if you are just joining us, we're in the 32nd minute at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Eberechi Eze's goal from a really clever set piece has given Arsenal the lead. Arsenal, between the first and the 33rd game of the season, only had 6 short corners. In this game today, they've had 3 alone. And it paid off when Eberechi Eze scored in the 9th minute for Arsenal. Lovely curling finish beyond the reach of Nick Pope. Not much that the Newcastle United goalkeeper could do about that. Terrific finish. In fact, Arsenal have got a player down as well. Kai Havertz is receiving medical treatment. Leandro Trossard is warming up, and I think Arsenal might be forced to make a change. Not what the Gunners fans want to see. I think he's just pointing it inside to his groin, of some form of groin strain, the former Chelsea attacker. Well, Arsenal do have a strong bench this afternoon. Kepa, the goalkeeper's there. It's Lewis Skelly, it's Mosquera, it's the youngster Dowman, the teenager, Trossard, Gyökeres, Jesus, Saka and Martinelli. Martinelli, Saka, Jesus, Gyökeres, Trossard. So many attacking options there for Mikel Arteta, and I think a lot of people could claim that they would be in this Arsenal first 11. I think Martinelli's had his moments. Saka, of course, is arguably one of Arsenal's biggest stars as he returns from injury. An informed Jesus is very difficult to deal with. Gyökeres is scoring goals this season. Trossard always proves to be a handful. The former Brighton attacking midfielder, winger. It looks like it's going to be the end of the game for Kai Havertz as he trudges off the field. Indeed, he's going to be replaced by Victor Gyökeres. Summer signing from Sporting Lisbon. Swedish internationals Kai Havertz walks straight down the tunnel. Gyökeres has actually scored 5 times off the bench this season, more than any other Arsenal player. Will he be able to add to that tally this afternoon? As the game gets going again, as Raya launches the ball forward, it's headed away by Botman. Ball is loose in the centre circle. Zubimendi has it. He's racing forward for the Gunners. He spreads out wide to Hincapié in an advanced position. Low cross comes in. Newcastle falls to clear. Botman slips as he clears, but he's able to clear it as far as Declan Rice. Arsenal have it again on the halfway line. It's Gabriel. Lifts the ball over to this near side to Madueke. It's a little bit far for him, and he's unable to reach it. And Newcastle will have a goal kick. As Mikel Arteta springs out of his chair. I don't think he sits for very long in games, does he? He's often pacing and prowling around his technical area, sometimes out of his technical area, like a lot of managers often do. As Pope takes the goal kick for Newcastle United. Headed away by White. Newcastle have it again on the halfway line. It's Bruno Guimaraes back in the side today. One of 5 changes for Eddie Howe's side. Over Miley on the far side. Murphy has it. Back to Miley for Newcastle. They decide to go safety first. It goes all the way back to Nick Pope, who's right on the edge of his penalty box. He squares it to Botman. Dangerous pass into midfield because the midfielder was being chased by Declan Rice. Guimaraes. The referee actually said that Rice committed a foul. As Guimaraes has the ball for Newcastle United. He wants to spread it over to the far side. It's a long ball. It's a really good ball. It's a poor first touch though by Miley. He's just about kept it in place. Being closed down by Hincapié. The Ecuadorians are brilliantly to win the ball. And the referee actually says that there was a foul by Miley on Hincapié as he tried to win the ball back. It was a terrific ball over the top by the midfielder Bruno Guimaraes, but it wasn't a very good touch by Miley, as there's a image of Riccardo Calafiore just sat on the bench. The Italian regular left back for Arsenal, not in the squad today. Arsenal try to attack, the ball has slipped forwards, but it goes all the way to Nick Pope instead. Newcastle trying to bring the ball forward with Guimaraes. It comes over to Joe Willock, the former Arsenal midfielder. Ball goes wide on the far side to Miley. He looks up, can he put a cross in? It's a decent delivery. It's headed away by Gabriel. Drops to Burn of all people. Chests it, goes for a shot. Skews wide, and it will be an Arsenal goal kick. And I think he has a little smile on his face, a little chuckle. Former Brighton Hove Albion defender. As Eddie Howe and his assistant Jason Tyndall watch on. Newcastle though have had the last 4 shots on goal, or 4 shots are these two teams, not necessarily on target. The ball is launched forward, it's headed away by Botman, it drops towards Tonali. He's able to flick it forward, but only as far as Zubamendi. Ben White now has it. He plays it back to his goalkeeper David Raya, the former Brentford goalkeeper. He just treads on the ball. He decides to launch it forward. Headed down by Byrne towards Ramsey, the former Aston Villa midfielder. Botman has to head the ball clear for Newcastle. And the ball is loose in the centre circle. It's picked up by Gabriel. He plays it out wide on the far side with Hincapié. Goes back to Rice, squared inside to Zubamendi. Arsenal playing in Newcastle's half at the moment. Comes over to Ben White. He's advanced. Comes over to Noni Madueke on this near side. Madueke again. It's Ødegaard. Back to Saliba. Arsenal keeping hold of the ball. Zubamendi has in the centre circle under no pressure at the moment. Squares over to Saliba, and again Ødegaard has a little bit of room on this near side. He loves to pick up a little pocket in front of the right back and just inside of the winger, Martin Ødegaard. That is his area, even though he's left-footed. Loves to slip the ball forward, doesn't he? Ben White, back to Ødegaard, the Arsenal skipper. Saliba again. Ødegaard once more. Comes over to Madueke. Newcastle happy to defend just inside their penalty box. Comes over to Madueke. Newcastle right on the edge of Newcastle's third of the field. Gabriel. Declan Rice. Approaching 40 minutes played at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Arsenal with the chance to return back to the top of the table. They don't particularly do very well in April under Mikel Arteta. Their average points per game ratio in April is 1.48. Not particularly strong, is it? In fact, Arsenal have lost their last 4 domestic games in a row. It's the first time since Arsene Wenger's farewell season in 2017-2018 as Newcastle win a free kick in Arsenal's half. Foul by Saliba on Bruno Guimaraes. It's a little bit far out for a shot. In fact, I think it is too far out for a shot, albeit Sandro Tonali had an effort from open play in a not too dissimilar area earlier in the half. But I think more likely Bruno Guimaraes is going to lift the ball into Arsenal's penalty box here. The Gunners are lined up on the edge of their penalty area at the moment. And we know that Newcastle's midfielder Guimaraes has a wonderful free kick. We know he has the talent to deliver when necessary. Bruno Guimaraes. What can he do from this free kick for Newcastle United? Decides to square it to Tonali, who goes for a shot again from a similar range he did earlier in this game, but it was blocked right on the edge of the 6-yard box by Arsenal. Guimaraes and slips it down the line to Tonali on this near side. It comes over to Willock, who tries to give it back to Tonali, but it's blocked by Saliba, and Newcastle have a throw on this near side inside Arsenal's half. Ball goes back to Guimaraes. It's been pretty close as far as possession since Eze's goal in the 9th minute, but Newcastle are the team who've had the shots. They've had 8 shots compared to Arsenal's 1. Yet Arsenal have had 10 touches of the ball in Newcastle's penalty box, while Newcastle have only touched the ball in Arsenal's penalty box 5 times. That's in the last half an hour or so. So it's Saliba now for the Gunners. Takes the touch, decides to square it to his centre-back partner, Gabriel. Play forward to Zubamendi. And Capier. Again, Arsenal go all the way to their goalkeeper, David Raya. Gabriel. Saliba now. Does really well to get away from his man, slips the ball down the line, but it's not a very good pass. And it goes to Sven Botman. Malik Chow. Guimaraes lifts the ball over. It's a weak touch by Ramsey, and Arsenal have the ball on the far side with Eze. Being closed down by Miley. Miley's done really well. Malik Chow slips the ball forward to Guimaraes. He wants to clear with his left foot. He eventually does. He finds Dan Burn. It bounces awkwardly, but he chests it down and plays it back to Botman. It's bounced awkwardly for Botman, and Arsenal trying to win the ball back. Burn has it in the left back area. Being closed down by Ben White, and Ben White forces an error from Botman as Arsenal win a throw. About 15 yards up from the corner flag on this near side. White forcing the error from Newcastle, and he has the ball back at his feet. Being closed down by Bruno Guimaraes, who's done well there, the Brazilian, as it clipped Ben White's chest last, and Newcastle will have a throw. 90 seconds remaining of normal time in the first half. Arsenal have the lead thanks to Eze's goal in the 9th minute. Of course, you'd expect there to be at least 3 minutes out of the dramatic figure on the sidelines with his team in action. Arsenal, as I mentioned, it's a big week for them. They're away at Atletico Madrid on Wednesday in the first leg of their semi-final of the UEFA Champions League, and then they've got Fulham next Saturday in the Premier League. Arsenal flick the ball forward towards Madueke. It's cleared by Botman. Arsenal try to come forward again, and ball was flicked forward by Ødegaard, but I don't think he realised that Madueke wasn't down the line, and Newcastle were happy for the ball to run out of play on the far side. well, sorry, not on the near side, out for a goal kick. 45 minutes have been played at the Emirates, and we will have 3 minutes. What a great prediction that was from me. So Nick Pope is preparing to take this goal kick for Newcastle. He's urging his teammates to go forward, so he's likely to launch this now into Arsenal's half of the pitch. It's a long one. It's one, though, by Byrne in a more advanced role. And Byrne now has it just inside Newcastle's half. Tonali. Ball is slipped forward to Willock. He's trying to turn. He has to square it to Byrne, who plays it back to Botman first time. Malik Chow. Bruno Guimaraes. Squares the ball to Willock, who's in the centre circle. It goes over to the centre back. Malik Chow is in a more of a right back area, but he slips the ball down the line to Miley, who's really high up the field for Newcastle. It goes back to Botman. Play forward to Guimaraes, who brings the ball into Arsenal's half of the field. It's spread out wide to Murphy. It's just in front of him. He's able to keep the ball in play. He's got Hincapié in front of him. Excellent defending. Really good foot in there by Hincapié. Newcastle, though, still have the ball on the far side. 90 seconds remaining of additional time in the first half. Newcastle's ball forward is cut out by Ødegaard. He's able to find Rice on the near side. He's being closed down by 3 Newcastle players. And Arsenal have a throw-in on the halfway line. Rice is claiming that it came off Murphy. As Arteta just has a conversation with one of his assistants. So far in this half, Arsenal have had 3 shots on goal. Newcastle have had 9, but it is Arsenal who have the lead with less than a minute to go in the half. Gabriel plays the ball back to Raya. Squared to Saliba. He decides to go long. Here's one by Botman, but he flicks it backwards, and fortunately for him, Dan Byrne was there, but the referee has already blown his whistle, I think, for a foul by Gyökeres on Botman. Maybe a little shove there. Newcastle have a free kick in the centre circle inside their own half. Sandro Tonali has told his teammates to go forward. It looks like he's going to launch a long one, and this might be the last attack of the half. What can Tonali do? Arsenal line up about 10 yards outside of their penalty box. He's launched it into the box. It's a little bit heavy, and it goes beyond everyone into the arms of David Raya. And the referee, Sam Barrett, blows his whistle at half-time, and it's going well for Arsenal at the moment. Newcastle might have had more shots, but it's Arsenal who have scored the goal. A wonderful finish from a short corner routine by Eberechi Eze, and at half-time at the Emirates, it's Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Hello, welcome back to coverage of Arsenal versus Newcastle, and the second half is about to get underway. And it will be Newcastle who kick us off. They'll be shooting from left to right in their traditional black and white stripes, black shirts and black socks. Against Arsenal, shooting from right to left in their traditional red and white shirts, white shorts, red socks, as Ben White takes a big throw on the far side, but the referee has stopped play momentarily. I think it will be another throw to the former Brighton right back. Of course, recently made his return back to England, following just over a 3-year absence after he left the England camp, of course, during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Of course, England reaching the quarter-finals on that occasion. They'll be hoping to go a little bit further than that this summer in the United States, as Newcastle have the ball. If you're just joining us, it's Arsenal who have the lead thanks to a really well-struck goal by Eberechi Eze inside 9 minutes from a short corner routine from the Gunners, as Newcastle have the ball on the halfway line with Osula. He goes down under the challenge of Zubimendi, and the referee has blown his whistle for a Newcastle free kick. I don't believe either of these sides have made a change at half-time. So Newcastle have the same first 11 that they began with, while Arsenal had to make one change in the first half. Victor Gyökeres had to come on for the injured Kai Havertz, as Sandro Tonali has the ball. He plays it back to Nick Pope. Let me give you a quick reminder of the two sides. Let's start with Arsenal on the home side. It's Raya in goal. It's White, Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapié in defence. Odegaard, Zubimendi and Ricer across the midfield, with Madueke, Gyökeres and Eberechi Eze now in attack for Arsenal. Newcastle United have the ball. We're on the edge of the centre circle. It's played over to Malik Chow. He slips it forward. Comes out wide to Lewis Miley. It's played down the line to Jacob Murphy. Back inside to Guimaraes. Into the feet of Willock, who's on the edge of the box. Comes back to Guimaraes. Tries to slip it forward to Murphy. It's just behind him. He's able to collect the ball. He tries to put it across. It comes off Hincapié, but it just comes off Murphy in the end, and it will be an Arsenal goal kick. Newcastle team in the second half. It's Pope in goal. It's Miley, Chow, Botman and Byrne in defence. Ramsey, Tonali and Guimaraes are across the midfield, with Murphy, Osula and Willock playing across the attack, albeit Joe Willock at times is dropping regularly into a more central midfield area for the Magpies. And the referee just stopping play for a moment. Gabriel is over the ball for the goal kick. Referee Sam Barrett is just having a conversation with one of his assistants on the sidelines. Looks like play is okay to continue. Gabriel feints playing it to his goalkeeper Raya, and then finally does play it to the Spanish keeper, who decides to launch it forward towards Gyökeres. It's headed away by Botman. He won plenty of headers in the first half. Odegaard now flicks it towards Gyökeres. Chow wins the header. Ball is loose on the edge of the box. Gyökeres is battling really well with Botman at the moment. Former Sporting Lisbon attacker, former Brighton attacker, of course. Hincapié. Goes back to Gabriel. Zubimendi. Back to Saliba. Arsenal passing the ball in. Newcastle's half at the moment. It's out on the far side with Noni Madueke. We know he loves to come onto his favoured left foot. Ball goes back to Odegaard. Back to Saliba. It's out wide to White. He's got time. He looks up. Puts a cross in. It's a deep one. It comes all the way to Hincapié, who slides in. He puts in a cross. Eze can't head of the ball goalwards, and Newcastle managed to clear. Saliba battling with Osula. Osula's done well to steal the ball off the French international, but Saliba is able to knock it out of play for a throw on the far side. Newcastle take a throw quickly. Arsenal claim that that was a foul throw, but play continues. It comes over to Miley. Tonali on this near side. It's now with Jacob Murphy. He knocks it back to the defender Malik Chow, formerly of AC Milan, of course. Bruno Guimaraes back to Botman in the centre circle. It's squared over to Malik Chow. Of course, Newcastle without regular right backs this evening. No Tino Livramento, no Kieran Trippier. Trippier, of course, leaving the club at the end of the season. Instead, it's Lewis Miley at right back for Eddie Howe's side. Eddie Howe's side in a real poor run of form at the moment. A lot of speculation over his future at the club come the end of the season. Of course, backed by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. Trippier is on the bench today. Guimaraes. Miley in a more central area at the moment. That's where he normally prefers to play. He's more of a central midfielder. Ball comes over onto this near side to Jacob Murphy. He slips it down the line. Collected by Miley. Played inside to Guimaraes. Comes back to Miley. He hangs over across. It comes all the way out to the far side. Cross comes back in. It's headed away by Saliba. Excellent defending. Tonali nods the ball back into the box. It comes off the head of Gabriel and it comes all the way to the left back Hincapié. And then in the end, the referee blows his whistle because the flag is up on the near side and there will be a free kick. Eberechi Eze is down on the ground at the moment, though. That's a concerning sign for Arsenal. I think he's now awaiting medical attention. The former Crystal Palace midfielder, of course, scored the winning goal in Crystal Palace's FA Cup victory last season over Manchester City. I think a lot of commentators and so-called football experts would say that Eze has had a mixed first season at the Gunners. Goal inside 9 minutes. A really clever, well worked short corner routine. So 2 changes that Arsenal have been forced to make due to injury. Havertz coming off in the first half, and now Eberechi Eze, the goal scorer. As Newcastle win a free kick for a foul on Dan Burn. He's helped back to his feet by Vito Gyökeres. And Sandro Tonali is over the ball at the moment for Newcastle United. Lewis Miley. There's the ball across the halfway line. He plays it back to Tonali, who again is between the 2 centre halves. Botman. Newcastle just keeping hold of possession at the moment. Botman now clears down the line. The header is won by Arsenal. And there's a real big meaty challenge between Gyökeres and Declan Rice, and I think the referee has given the free kick in the way of Arsenal. Certainly 2 players who aren't afraid to shirk a challenge. Or never really shirk a challenge, in fact. Not afraid to make a challenge. Declan Rice and Bruno Guimaraes. Referee Sam Barrett just has a word with Declan Rice as Martin Ødegaard just ponders what to do over this free kick. He has a quick word with Gabriel. Rice and Ødegaard are over the ball at the moment. Will it be the right out swinger of Rice, or will it be in swung by Ødegaard, I think, is most likely going to be the Arsenal skipper, the Norwegian Ødegaard. He raises his right arm. And it's left for Rice. Cross comes in. It's a decent delivery. And it goes beyond everyone. It goes out of play. I think it should be a Newcastle goal kick. And Cappier is down on the ground at the moment because his boot came off. Really good teasing delivery by Rice. And Cappier was onside. It was coming towards him. It just went beyond Byrne and Thiaw. The ball goes out for a Newcastle goal kick. 10 minutes into the second half. Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. Eberechi Eze's goal, the difference between the two sides. Of course, this victory, if they are able to seal the 3 points for Arsenal, would return them back to the top of the table. Will be actually a point would work for Arsenal to go back top, but would it be enough in the title race against Manchester City, in for Manchester City, who they lost 1-2 last weekend, last Sunday at the Etihad Stadium? Saliba heads the ball over to Ben White over in a right back area. He over kicks it for the ball forward for Madueke, and it goes out of play for a Newcastle throw. White back in the side today in place of Mosquera. Of course, the regular right back has been Julian Timber, but he is struggling still with an ankle injury. Also missing Mikel Merino. He recently had foot surgery, but won't be back for a few more weeks. As Mikel Arteta has a ponderous look out onto the pitch at the moment. It's Arsenal on the attack on the far side, and Ødegaard goes down, and Arsenal won a free kick, and Dan Burn has shown a yellow card, and it's right on the edge of the penalty area on the far side. Burn mistimed his header. Ball drops back towards Gyökeres. Gyökeres has gone down, and Burn has just tried to pull him back, and Gyökeres has gone down very easily, but there clearly were arms on the Swedish attacker from Dan Burn. It's a very easy free kick for Arsenal to win. Newcastle are now lined up on the edge of their 6-yard box. Madueke, Ødegaard over the ball. Gabriel comes over to speak to his skipper once more, because Gabriel is very often the target for these set pieces. As I mentioned, he scored 3 Premier League goals this season, the centre half. Immediately comes over to Saliba, Gyökeres and Zubamendi to pass on information of what they're going to do from this set piece. Madueke's walked away. Ødegaard has the ball, squares it to Madueke on the edge of the box. He goes for a shot, and it's cleared by Byrne. I think that was something they were trying to try, not too dissimilar to what happened for the Eze goal. Declan Rice brings the ball into Newcastle's half. Marauding forward without a challenge yet. He clips it towards Madueke. It's headed away by Byrne. It drops to Ben White. He brings it down on the chest. It goes wide to Madueke. Comes onto his favoured left foot. Cross comes in. It's too close to the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, who collects it pretty comfortably. Wearing all light blue today, Nick Pope. Turned 34 6 days ago. And he clears the ball forward, the former Burnley goalkeeper. Sula wins the header, but Arsenal are able to pick up the scraps as the ball goes back to David Raya. Newcastle on the bench there. They've got Ramsdale, Trippier, Hall, Wissa, Barnes, Elanga, Walter-Mada, Alex Murphy and Neve. Lots of good options there for Eddie Howe. Newcastle certainly in the first half had plenty of possession. I think Arsenal have dominated it more in this second half. And Newcastle had plenty of shots, but none that really tested David Raya, in all honesty. Murphy back to Sandro Tonali. Really is like a Rolls Royce in that midfield at times, isn't he, Sandro Tonali? Just so smooth. And in the end he puts the ball out of play. Looks like there's an injury to Lewis Miley. I think he's actually holding the top of his head. It was quite a meaty challenge he actually put in on Hincapié, and as Hincapié landed, Hincapié's heel just caught the back of Miley's head. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall, his assistant, have a conversation on the sidelines. I think Eddie Howe is just contemplating what substitution he might be making shortly. We approach an hour. In fact, an hour has been played at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. In the English Premier League, it's first versus 14th. Or, in fact, it's second versus 14th. Arsenal looking to go back first. They are first currently with the current scoreline. Of course, Manchester City not in action today in the Premier League because they're in action right now in the FA Cup. They're, of course, taking on Southampton for a place in the final. Manchester City. It was a busy day in the Premier League. Fulham beat Aston Villa. Liverpool beat Palace 3-1. West Ham 1-2-1 against Everton, and Spurs won 1-0 at Wolves as the ball is launched forward by Newcastle. Header comes back towards Miley. He heads it to Guimaraes. He flicks it over Gyökeres, and then the ball is lifted forward, and Newcastle want a free kick for a late foul on Guimaraes, but Sam Barrett gives nothing, and Guimaraes is down. Referee is allowing play to continue. And Arsenal bringing the ball forward with Ødegaard. He slips it forward to Madueke. Excellent defending by Dan Burn to steal the ball. It's towards the corner flag, and then Burn just loses control and has conceded a corner there. Burn picks the ball up and he shakes his head. And he's saying it should be a free kick in the first place for the foul on Guimaraes. I don't think the referee's going to give anything there. Dan Burn is not happy whatsoever. Ødegaard just has a little whisper in the ear of Dan Burn. Yes, Manchester City currently playing Southampton, goalless in that game at the moment. In the FA Cup, 77 minutes played there. But Arsenal have the lead against Newcastle. Over an hour played. We're in the 63rd minute now. Noni Madueke preparing to take the corner on the far side for Arsenal. And again they go for a short corner routine. It's Ødegaard to Madueke. Ball comes loose. Newcastle with some good defending. It comes out to Rice. He has to play the ball all the way back to his goalkeeper, David Raya, who's really high advance up the field. He clears it forward, but it's too heavy. It comes all the way to Nick Pope in the Newcastle goal, who gathers the ball. So Newcastle are about to make a change. It looks like Harvey Barnes is about to come on, the former Leicester City winger. Of course, he's always a good attacking threat for Eddie Howe's side. Harvey Barnes scored 5 times in this Premier League season so far. There's no Anthony Gordon today, which is a big miss for the Magpies, as the referee just blows his whistle for a free kick against Jacob Murphy. Arsenal with a free kick in a left back area. As Harvey Barnes is just having a quick conversation with Eddie Howe, who has his tactics board up, and it looks like Jan Wisser is about to come on as well. It looks like Newcastle are going to make a couple of attacking changes, and I think that's crucial at this stage. They trail 1-0. Rice on this near side on the halfway line. Forced to check back and play it back to Gabriel. David Raya now. He just tells his team just to calm down. He just treads on the ball. He wants to bait one of the Newcastle attackers. He squares the ball to Saliba. It goes back to the Spanish goalkeeper. He clips it forward towards Gyökeres. Headers won by Botman. It comes loose and Tonali plays it back to Burn. Burn has to bring the ball into the centre circle. Toe pokes it over to Lewis Miley, the right back. Back to Malik Chow. And he's forced to play it back to Botman, who's now right on the edge of Newcastle's penalty box. It goes to the far side to Ramsey. Back to Botman. He clipped it down the line. It's cut out by Ben White. It comes towards Zubamendi. It's towards Declan Rice. It falls for him nicely. Bursts into the box. What a tackle that is by Malik Chow. Timed it perfectly on the England midfielder Rice. Here's Miley now. Plays the ball down the line. It's a good run from Mosula, who's collected the ball well, but he needs some support. He doesn't have it at the moment. He's on the edge of the box. And he just can't find Joe Willock. Shot comes in, though, from Tonali, and again it's blocked on the edge of the penalty box by Arsenal. Tonali not afraid to have a hit from about 30-35 yards. That's the third time he's tried it in this game. Second time it's been blocked. And Newcastle are about to make a double substitution. Johan Wissa and Harvey Barnes about to come on for the Magpies. It's the end of the game for Jacob Murphy. He's replaced by Harvey Barnes, and it will be William Asula who comes off as well. Asula's actually done pretty well in my opinion. I think he's just been a little bit unfortunate that at times he hasn't received any support. And I think that moment just seconds ago was a prime example of that. Nevertheless, Newcastle have a throw on the far side, level with the edge of Arsenal's penalty box. It's going to be launched in. It's a long throw. In it comes. Headed away by Gabriel and swept clear by Gyökeres on the edge of the box. Gyökeres is racing forward to get there. Tonali will get there first. Awkward header, but he's done well there, Tonali. Trying to get around Gyökeres now. Gyökeres is able to steal it, though, off the Italian. Excellent play there by the Swedish attacker. The home fans will have enjoyed that. Gabriel. Forward to Zubamendi. Odegaard has space in his own half at the moment. He's approaching the halfway line. And followed by Willock, who goes in for a strong challenge. It would put Arsenal top of the table in the English Premier League. They'll be 3 points ahead of Manchester City, but they will have played a game more. City in FA Cup action as we speak. It's Harvey Barnes. Back to Bruno Guimaraes. Cross comes in from Miley, headed away by Gabriel. And then Declan Rice clears from a left-back area. It's cut out by Malik Chow. It falls kindly to Harvey Barnes. He plays it back to Chow on the halfway line. It's squared inside to Botman, who's in the centre circle. It's slipped forward to Willock. Guimaraes tries to flick it forward for Wissa, but that's easy for Gabriel. He hasn't done a brilliant header, though. Hincapié tries to clear. Martinelli's trying to get a hold of the ball. Newcastle win it back, and in fact Newcastle have a free kick for a foul on Bruno Guimaraes, and that's certainly lifted the spirits of the away fans inside the Emirates Stadium. Those that have made the long journey from the north-east of England down to North London. Newcastle have a free kick. Bruno Guimaraes is over it. His trusty right foot. Arsenal, their defensive line is level with the edge of their penalty box. Very tightly congested, or pretty much inside where the D is. And the cross comes in from Guimaraes, and it's too heavy and it's too near the goalkeeper. And it should be better from a player his quality. And Raya throws the ball out quickly to Martinelli, who's attacking on the far side. Tonali's trying to pull him back. He's able to play the ball back to Ben White. Play continues. Newcastle have managed to get numbers back. He slips it forward to Odegaard. It's played out to the far side to Martinelli. Into the feet of Zubamendi. Back to Martinelli. Ball goes back to Saliba. It's squared to Declan Rice, who's in the middle of Newcastle's half. It's with Gabriel. He's really advanced forward, the Brazilian centre half. Inside to Zubamendi. Odegaard. Ball goes wide to Madueke on the far side, the right winger. Ramsey's in front of him. Back to Ødegaard. He looks up. He puts it across into the box towards Gyökeres. He chests the ball down. And then the shot of the unrushing player was blocked. I think it was Zubimendi. It's Nkapie on this near side. Ball goes back to Rice. Into the feet of Zubimendi. He tried to flick it forward. Ball comes forward to Nkapie on this near side. Nkapie again. Now with Martinelli. Martinelli back to Nkapie on this near side. Martinelli's come back over to the left-hand side. Ball goes back to Gabriel. Rice. Gabriel in the left-back area inside Newcastle's half. His pass forward is intercepted briefly by Willock, but he's able to find Martinelli and he loses the ball to Wissa. And then in the end, there's clearly a foul there. A late challenge for a foul. I think it was on Wissa by Martinelli. He lost the ball. He took one for the team there, really. In fact, it was the challenge on Willock as Wissa was trying to come away with it. I think he's frustrated with himself there, Martinelli, as he's picked up his third yellow card of the season, the Brazilian. And I said that earlier in the first half, Mikel Arteta was looking more contemplative. In the second half, he is getting more and more agitated. Ball played forward is cut out. It comes to Miley. Guimaraes has it in a holding midfield area. He's able to find Murphy. It goes back to Guimaraes. He slips. He loses possession. Ødegaard picks it up. He's got Gyökeres to his left. He squares it inside to Zubimendi and then he lifts it over the top. It was just a little bit too intricate. It was a little bit too audacious, ambitious there from Martin Zubimendi, and the ball goes out of play for a Newcastle United goal kick. And you do wonder, is one goal going to be enough for Arsenal in this game? Newcastle have had plenty of shots, albeit Arsenal have been the better of the two sides in the second half. Newcastle yet to really threaten Raya in this second half. And it's just gone 7 o'clock in North London. We're in the 72nd minute. And it's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. And you can see that the joy and the smiles on the Arsenal fans is now becoming more and more concerned. They need that second goal to seal off this game. Newcastle could get an equaliser at any time. It's not a done deal yet for Mikel Arteta's side. It's Harvey Barnes. He loses possession. Arsenal now have it with Ødegaard, who's dropped a little bit deep. Ball goes back to Gabriel. He plays it back to David Raya in the 6-yard box. He switches it onto his right foot and launches it forward towards Madueke. Strong, towering header, as you expect from Dan Burn. Ball is played back forward. Madueke picks it up on the far side. He's on the attack. The Arsenal winger coming on to his favourite left foot, plays into Zubimendi. Shot comes in, but it comes off a Newcastle player, and it's easy for the goalkeeper, Pope, to collect. Ball goes wide onto the far side. Ramsey. Inside to Tonali. Malik Chow. He's starting to move a little bit slowly now. The Newcastle defender, Malik Chow. Tonali. Ball goes wide on the far side to Dan Burn, who's got some space to maraud into. Ball comes inside to Ramsey. It's back with Guimaraes. He does a 1-2 Wissa, but Arsenal have defended well just inside their penalty box as Ødegaard clips the ball over the top for Gyökeres, but Pope comes out of his goal. He misses the ball completely. Gyökeres tries to get there. Pope clips the attacker. The referee's blown his whistle. It will be an Arsenal free kick, and I think the referee Sam Barrett is only going to give the goalkeeper a yellow card because there was another Newcastle player nearby. A little bit fortuitous there for Nick Pope. It was a wonderful ball over the top, lifted over like a pitching wedge from Ødegaard. Pope got it all wrong, and as Gyökeres was going to try and get past him, Pope just pulled his right arm out, made sure Gyökeres wouldn't get to the ball, gave away a free kick and earned himself a yellow card. It was never going to be a red card. There was a player in and around the defensive area. I think it was Malik Chow. Gabriel is having a word with Barrett, and interestingly here, VAR is having a look at this. They're checking it for a possible red card as a denial of a possible goal-scoring opportunity. Nick Pope has picked up his second yellow card of the season. Newcastle are going to make a substitution. It's their German striker, Nick Walter-Marder, coming on. And he's being replaced, well, he's replacing Bruno Guimaraes. So you'd expect that Walter-Marder will go straight up top, and perhaps Johan Wisser will move over to one of the wings, maybe on the right, and maybe Barnes will go on the left. Walter-Marder through the middle, and Willock will drop into midfield. That's what you'd expect perhaps, but we will see very shortly. Arsenal have a free kick, an opportunity to put a cross in. Ben White and Declan Rice just have a quick drink for this free kick. Less than a quarter of an hour remaining in the second half. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0 in the English Premier League at the Emirates Stadium in North London, as Bukayo Saka is putting on his shirt. It looks like Arsenal's star boy is about to make an entrance into this game. But first it's the free kick, and it comes from right. Good delivery, but again it goes past everyone. And it will be a Newcastle United goal kick. Just beyond the Arsenal attackers there from Rice. It had lovely curve to it and lovely whip, but he shakes his head because he knows it wasn't into the path of one of his teammates. So Nick Pope is just laying the ball down. The Newcastle defenders are now being urged to move forward, so Pope will launch this into Arsenal's half of the pitch. And it's flicked forward, and there's a brilliant tackle there by Hincapié, sticking a left leg out in a central area there. Excellent stuff. Newcastle have the ball go back to the goalkeeper, Pope. Now with Botman. He decides to launch it long towards Wisser. And Wisser's done well to win the ball ahead of Gabriel, but he had no idea where it was going, and in the end it just goes to the feet of the Arsenal keeper, David Raya. Where rolls the ball out to Saliba. Saliba's racing forward. Brings it into the Newcastle half. He loses possession though, but the ball just pinballs over to Gabriel, and he squares it to Rice, who was covering for Saliba anyway. Newcastle lost their last 3 Premier League games. This will be 4 Premier League games in a row. But interestingly, Newcastle have scored in their last 18 consecutive games in all competitions, and that includes their last 10 away games, but they haven't scored yet in this one. Tonali. Ball goes back to Botman. He's been closed down by Gyökeres, trying to show his strength. He tries to clear right by the corner flag. Tries to play it towards Wisser, and there's a header from an Arsenal player, Zubin Mendy, to give away a throw-in on the far side. Just over 11 minutes remaining in normal time in the second half. Arsenal lead a goal to 0. Malik Chow now. Ball is switched over to Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes is taking the right side of the attack. It's Walter-Marder through the middle and Wisser on the left-hand side. Miley has it on the near side now. An advanced area of the Newcastle right back this afternoon. Harvey Barnes. He'll backheel to Miley. Feints across. Goes back to Chow. Miley again. Being forced back by Gyökeres. He'll play it back to Botman, who's on the halfway line. Chow steals the ball in front of Miley. Miley has it now. Walter-Marder's dropped deep. He wants it to his feet. He doesn't get it. It goes to Tonali instead. Wisser is through the middle at the moment with Walter-Marder just dropping in a number 10 role. It's Chow. Forward to Willock. Into Walter-Marder on the edge of the D. Flicks over to Wisser, and Wisser comes with a volley. It's over the bar. And I think he might have just been onside as well, and Walter-Marder puts his hands on his head. It was really, really clever from the German forward, and it would have been really tight, and I think Wisser's onside, and he comes in with a volley, but he can't keep it down. He got to the ball ahead of David Raya, but he couldn't get it on target, and that was a really concerning moment for the home fans. And Mikel Arteta knows that. He knows Newcastle were so close to getting an equaliser with 10 minutes to go on the clock, and so does Eddie Howe, as Arsenal look to make a change. It's the end of the game for Martin Zubimendi and Noni Madueke. And I think this place is about to erupt. It's a introduction of Miles Lewis Skelly, and it's Arsenal's star boy. It's their star man, Bukayo Saka, who comes onto the field. What can the England international do on that right hand side? Can he secure all 3 points for Arsenal this afternoon? There's still at least 9 minutes to go as White gets to the ball. In fact, Saliba, in fact, gets to the ball ahead of Whistler as Gabriel just boots it clear. Headers won by Thiaw. Ball comes loose for Martinelli in the central area. Plays out wide to Saka. He bursts into the box. This is his first real touch. The ball shot comes in and it just skews wide of the far post. I think it took a deflection. Saka's already got a smile on his face, and he nearly made an instant impact. He came onto his left foot. Shot came in. Burns deflected it wide. He's done really well there, the Newcastle defender, sticking out his long right leg. And Arsenal have a corner on this near side. What can they do from this set piece? Of course, they took the lead thanks to a really clever, well-worked set piece. Gabriel just whispers into the ears of Nkapie and Gyökeres as Declan Rice prepares to take it on this near side. He raises his left arm and he whips it in towards the far post. Newcastle head the ball away. It comes loose. And then there's an overhead kick, and it's saved by the goalkeeper, Nick Pope. It was Gabriel Martinelli who went for the spectacular right by the penalty spot. He missed the ball on the first attempt with the left-footed volley, then went for the overhead kick. It went straight at the goalkeeper, Pope. Malik Chow now has the ball. He brings it forward to Lewis Miley. Miley has Martinelli in front of him, so he plays it back to Malik Chow. Chow, long cross over to the far side. It's a loose touch by Ramsey, but he still has possession. Takes a moment. Jacob Ramsey, he'll play it back to Tonali, who's in the centre circle. Ball comes out to Harvey Barnes. Back to Malik Chow. Miley slips the ball down the line. It's to Barnes. He lifts across towards the far post as a header comes in from Walter Mada, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. In fact, it was Dan Burn coming into the back post. Thought it was Walter Mada, but it was Dan Burn in the number 9 attacking role. Towering header at the far post, but just too close to the goalkeeper, David Raya. Ball is bouncing towards Gyökeres. Botman gets a foot in. Picked up by Saka. Squared inside to Martinelli. Martinelli plays it back to Lewis Skelly. Slip forward to Saka. He's on the edge of the D. He goes down. Ball comes loose to Odegaard. He slips into the box with Gyökeres. He swivels and shoots, but the block is from Botman. Excellent play there by the Dutch defender, but Arsenal have another corner, and the noise levels are rising inside the Emirates Stadium. 6 minutes away. 6 minutes remaining in this second half, plus whatever stoppage time will be added, as Bukayo Saka prepares to take his first corner of the game. What can he do here? Bukayo Saka. It will be his left foot as he looks to swing it in. And it looks like things are getting a little bit heated in the penalty box. A lot of tight marking going on between the likes of Gabriel and Dan Burn. Referee Sam Barrett isn't happy about something he just saw. Bit of a push there by, I think it was Malik Chow on Ben White. Dan Burn is having a word with the referee Sam Barrett. Of course, Ben White and Dan Burn used to play together at Brighton. Bukayo Saka prepares to take this corner kick on the far side. Is he going to whip it in, or will it be another short corner today? In it comes from Saka. It's a deep one all the way towards Martinelli, but it's headed away by Burn. And then Rice wins the header. He tries to get hold of the ball, but Burn goes down, and Newcastle will have a free kick in a right back early area. Excellent defending by Dan Burn. And in fact, the referee Sam Barrett has pulled out a yellow card here. He's given it to Declan Rice. And I'm not so sure that was necessarily for the challenge, but maybe what he said afterwards. So Newcastle make another change. Joe Willett comes on, and the former Nottingham Forest and Manchester United winger, the Swedish international Anthony Elanga, comes on. What impact can he make in the remaining few minutes in this game? As the ball is launched forward, it's headed away by Ben White. Newcastle play the ball back to Sven Botman. So as it stands at the moment, Arsenal would move top of the Premier League onto 73 points. Manchester City on 70 points, but they would have a game in hand. The goal difference at the moment, Arsenal plus 38, Manchester City plus 37. Arsenal have the ball on the near side. It's Martinelli racing forward. Plays it inside. It's a heavy pass, but it comes fortuitously to Odegaard. Goes back to Gabriel. It's now with Saliba in the centre circle. It goes to the right back Ben White. He slips it down the line to Saka. Saka will try to run it. Dan Burn now. Right onto the edge of the penalty box. Comes out to Odegaard. He thinks about a shot. He goes for a shot. It's saved at the near post by Nick Pope, who dived to his left. He struck it sweetly. The Arsenal skipper low and hard with his left foot, but Pope was equal to it. He read it well, the Newcastle United goalkeeper. But Arsenal do have another corner kick in this game. They've had a few of them in this match now. It is Bukayo Saka in the 88th minute. Preparing to take his cross. I think this is at least their 8th corner, maybe their 7th. It's headed away by Newcastle. Arsenal win the ball back again with Odegaard. Saka's in space. He bursts into the box. Low cross with his right foot, blocked by Botman. Wissa comes in. It comes off Odegaard, and Newcastle United get a goal kick. Time, though, is running out for them to get a goal back into this game. They've lost their last 4 games in a row in all competitions. Malik Chow. Miley. Inside to Tonali. Miley again in the right back area. Plays down the line to Walter Martin. Tries to flick it past Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly's done well, but he's lost the ball. Walter Martin now has it. Breaks into Arsenal's half of the field. Tries to slip it forward. Hincapié slides in. He's done brilliant there. He tries to play it back though. Wissa tries to get a hold of it. And then Arsenal somehow get the decision their way. It will be an Arsenal free kick. Wissa can't believe that decision by Sam Barrett. It's an excellent play by Walter Martin to slip the ball through. Hincapié came diving in. And in fact, it's a foul by Wissa going into Hincapié, but Hincapié was pushed by Gabriel. Not really sure how the referee made that decision. Just over a minute remaining of normal time in the second half. Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0. The Gunners need all 3 points, and they're so close to getting them. Ball is loose in the Newcastle half. Arsenal win it back. It's Rice. He squares it to White. He slips it down the line. It's towards Saka. Saka's racing for it. Burn goes down. He's just clipped on the heels by Saka.
And it will be at least a Newcastle goal kick, maybe even a free kick. The Arsenal fans are still looking a little bit stressed watching on. They haven't got all 3 points yet. Some of them are biting their nails. It's a very stressful time towards the end of the season. It's been a long time since Arsenal last won the Premier League. Over 2 decades, of course. As Tonali just knocks the ball back to Sven Botman. 90 minutes have been played in the Emirates, and there will be 7 additional minutes at the end of this second half. Newcastle have 7 minutes to find an equaliser. Arsenal have 7 minutes to claim all 3 points and go to the top of the table. Ball goes wide to Burn. His ball forward though isn't very good. It's cut out by Ben White, and Martinelli now has it in a more central area. Slips it forward to Ødegaard, who's right by the halfway line. It goes back to Saliba now. He squares it over to Gabriel, who's on the edge of his penalty box. Lifted forward by Gabriel. Can't find a red shirt. It's cut out by Chiao. Miley now has it for Newcastle. Tonali skips away from Ødegaard. Squares it over to Burn, who's in Arsenal's half. Into the feet of Ramsey. Burn has it on the far side. It comes off Saka, and Newcastle have a throw almost level with the edge of Arsenal's penalty box. Will they try for a long throw here? Eddie Howe is down on one knee, watching on. I think it will be a rocket launcher from Dan Burn. Walter Marder's an obvious target. Xiao's gone forward. In it comes from Dan Burn. It's a big one, and it's easily caught in the end by David Raya. An excellent claim by the goalkeeper. And he throws it out to Declan Rice. His first touch is heavy. He plays it down the line to Nkapie. He's trying to run past Elanga. He goes down. The referee says that it was a fair challenge. Elanga gives the ball to Miley. It goes forward towards Walter Marder. He goes down on the challenge of Gabriel. He's won a free kick. He wants to take it quickly. He won't be allowed. The referee's actually just stopped play for a moment, and actually that will suit Arsenal because they're able to get their players back into position. Gabriel just a little bit heavy-handed on Nick Walter-Marder on that occasion. So Newcastle have a free kick on the halfway line. Mikel Arteta getting more and more animated on the sidelines. We're 3 minutes into second half stoppage time out of the allotted 7. Ball is clipped forward right onto the edge of the box. The header comes down. Ball is loose. Newcastle still have it. It goes back out to Tonali. Comes out wide to Elanga. He's got Nkapie in front of him. He's trying to beat Nkapie. He's trying to run around him. Nkapie's defended well. He's won the ball. Excellent play by the Ecuadorian, who scoops the ball forward, and Arsenal have the chance to break here. At the moment it's 4-on-2. It's Gyökeres, and he just can't find Saka. It's cut out by Jacob Ramsey, and the ball goes back to the goalkeeper Nick Pope, and that feels like a wasted break by the Gunners, and that is only going to increase the tension inside the Emirates. As Newcastle have the ball in Arsenal's half now. Goes wide to Burn on the far side. It now it's Tonali in the centre circle. Miley. Elanga on this near side. He's got Nkapie in front of him. Miley offers the overlap. It goes to Miley. Elanga again. Chow inside to Tonali. Lifts the ball for across towards Wisser. It comes off Wisser's head, but it's booted clear by Arsenal. We'll go all the way back to Nick Pope. 3 minutes remaining of additional stoppage time. Some of the fans are watching this game between their fingers. It's Malik Chow. He looks up, and then it's a really poor ball. It was miscalculated there. He couldn't find a teammate, and it goes out of play for an Arsenal throw on the far side. Ødegaard is trying to rally the home fans to make some noise and build some support. rather than just be very anxious, and so many of them are. So many are biting their nails. Arteta does his shoelace up. 2.5 minutes remaining. Can Arsenal hold on? Will they get all 3 points? Will they move 3 points clear of Newcastle at the top of the table? Burn wins the challenge. It comes loose for Walter-Marda. He's able to drop the shoulder and attack, and then he turns back, but only straight into an Arsenal player. The Gunners have nicked the ball back with Rice. His ball forward is poor though. Newcastle will have it again with Tonali. Comes over to Miley. He's got a little bit of room at the moment in Arsenal's half. Thiaw has offered himself at right back. It comes back to Miley, who's free on the edge of the box. He's able to put a cross in towards the far post. Headed away at the far post by White. It comes out to Dan Burn on the far side. Jacob Ramsey squared inside to Tonali. We know he likes a shot from here. He's thinking about it again. He goes for it again, and this time it's blocked by Arsenal, and it goes out for a corner kick. 90 seconds remaining of stoppage time, and Newcastle United have a corner kick and the chance to get a late equaliser. Tonali's gone over to take it. Newcastle have a cluster of players right on the edge of the penalty box. I think Nick Pope was thinking about it. He hasn't gone forward. Cross comes in, headed away at the near post. It's not good enough there from Newcastle. And Alanga has to race to get there, and he does really well in the end to find Martinelli. Goes back to Pope, who just about gets to the ball ahead of an Arsenal player. Newcastle still have their players forward, and it's played down the line to Rice. Rice is racing to get there. He does well to get to the ball ahead of Miley. Miley stumbles. Rice still has the ball. He puts in a heavy cross, and it's too far for Saka. 30 seconds remaining. Pope is going to have to launch one if Newcastle are about to find a late equaliser. The fans inside the stadium cannot watch at the moment. It's like torture for some of the home fans. Booted forward by Pope. Headed away by Saliba. Excellent header. Comes to Botman. He decides to knock it long. Headed away by Gabriel, the two Arsenal centre-backs doing their job. But it comes loose to Walter-Marda. Alanga, been marked tightly by Hincapié. He's shoved over, and Newcastle have a free kick. We're in the 98th minute now. The allotted 7 have been played. This will be the last attack of the game. Newcastle have the chance to put a cross into Arsenal's penalty box. Sandro Tonali is over the ball. Newcastle have scored in their last 18 consecutive games in all competitions. They've scored in their last 10 away games in all competitions. Can they extend that run, or are Arsenal going to come away with all 3 points? It's all down to this moment in this game. It's Tonali. The cross comes in. It's headed away by Arsenal. And the referee, Sam Barrett, has blown his final whistle. And there's a celebration from Mikel Arteta because the Gunners have picked up all 3 points this evening. They'd lost their last 2 Premier League games. They'd lost top spots in the Premier League to Manchester City, but they have picked up all 3 points by beating Newcastle United. It was a really clever, well-worked corner kick routine from Arsenal that set the ball up to Eberechi Eze, who swept it home on the edge of the penalty box. And that is the difference between the two sides. His goal in the 9th minute. And it means Arsenal are back at the top of the table. Over to you, City, next. It's Arsenal 1, Newcastle United 0.